Joyride, 1957, a novel of intrigue by J.P. Wasmiller, Chapter 124. James spent the afternoon in the Portland Library from 1 until closing time at 5. The librarian was most helpful. She was a short, dark-haired girl with almost black eyes and a pert figure. She gave him all kinds of help, but he found nothing new or pertinent to help him in his research. At her suggestion, the two decided to take in a movie and then have supper together. They hopped in the Plymouth and drove to the theater. The Spirit of St. Louis was playing, starring Jimmy Stewart as Charles Lindbergh, the man who first flew over the Atlantic Ocean solo. By mid-movie, James was crying as he watched Charles strive to overcome the challenge of transatlantic flight, but also his own fears and his own humanity. Riza, his companion, noticed the tears and began kissing them away. As it began to appear that Lindbergh was indeed going to succeed, the two worked the extra-large buttered popcorn with extra salt down to near the bottom of the basket. Their Coca-Colas ran out about that same time. Hers was cherry. When the movie ended, Riza suggested a small Italian restaurant called Mario's, and the two walked the 2 blocks to the restaurant. They ordered salads, fettuccine alfredo, and veal parmesan. The two ate ravenously despite being full of popcorn. Spumoni capped off the best meal James could remember for a long time. Riza asked him where he was staying, and after several rounds of teasing, he told her. She asked if she could see his room. She had never been in the Benson. He reluctantly agreed, as he had been staring at the large diamond ring on her left fourth finger all afternoon. He did not ask about it, and she did not offer to tell him. This fact made him a bit uneasy. He wondered if she was a spy or working for someone, or if she was separated, or if her husband was 6'4" and 250 pounds. But as was his track record, he could not say no to a beautiful woman, or any woman for that matter. And c'est la vie, the expressions of love or like or passion soon filled his now clean room at the Benson. What passion had helped him forget, he now began to remember as he was falling asleep. This was, in fact, the exact same room he had been in last night with Delora, who was no longer. Riza was already fast asleep, and after he got up to urinate, he fell asleep next to her, his mild headache still squirming around in his brain. About 2 hours passed, and the clock reading midnight, a key opened the door, and in waltzed Misty. She went to the other side of the bed and sat down next to Riza. She shook her a bit, and her eyes opened. "How are you?" Misty said. James' snoring was up to about 40 decibels. "Good, I mean very good. You didn't tell me he is a great lover." "I wanted to surprise you. A little bonus, my dear, added to the 5,000 we put in your account," Misty said, putting her arm around Riza, who was sitting up now and rubbing her eyes. "Thanks," Riza said. "Did you ask to go with him?" Misty said. "No, not yet. I think he was afraid of this." She held up her left hand with a ring. "Honey, that ring is why you're here in his bed. Wedding rings are like magnets to single men." "I guess you're right," Riza said. "Nice. Where'd you get it?" "At Portland Pawn," Riza said. "Well, take it back if and when your affair ends," Misty said. "Will do," Riza said. "Try your best, my love. This guy's into something big, and nobody knows what it is, not even him. But if he finds what he's looking for, we have to be there and find out what that is before anyone else does. I think I've got him hooked pretty well, except neither of us found much in the library," Riza said. "Well, better resume the position, honey, unless you want a little quickie," Misty said. "I better get some rest. James as well." "I know, I've been there a couple times," Misty said, kissing Riza on the cheek. She then exited the room. Riza lay down and snuggled up against her new lover, snoring a new concerto. Riza was asleep, as they say, before her head hit the pillow. James got up a while later to go to the bathroom. As he stood over the toilet, he felt a little shake and then saw the floor buckle just slightly. He missed the toilet, but did finish peeing. As he turned, he felt another more intense shake, and the floor buckled some more. Then he heard a crack, and the mirror cracked. A third episode of shaking landed his razor and toothbrush on the floor. James went back and sat next to Riza on the bed, who was playing a concerto of her own in a higher key. He He wasn't sure what had just happened, but he had been in an earthquake as a boy in Texarkana. That actually one was severe enough to shake him right out of his bed. He had never been more scared in his life to this very day. Even on Normandy Beach he was not so scared. He reasoned that he had been so terrified because an earthquake was so unpredictable. On D-Day, the enemy was only going to shoot at him. James got up from the bed, dressed and closed up his bag. He leaned over and kissed Riza on the cheek and left the room. The cleaning lady in the hall saw him, and after he headed down the stairs, she went to Misty's room a few doors down, knocked, and was let in.